Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hey,
How you doing?
real good, you know, I'm looking forward to this topic.
Yeah,
I
man.
know
All good over
be...
here. All good over here. Let's do this.
So, hi, everybody who's tuned in today. This is More Than a Woman, the podcast for the people, for the community, solution-based. That's what we're here for, to discuss today. We are delving into, what's the title? A true Man She Warnt, but actually we'll be looking at monogamy versus polyandry, polygamy, and polyamory. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Divine Cosmic Mind, and we have Keely. Do you want to wait? And Kush.
Kush starter, yep.
So let's dive right into it, shall we? So I'm going to throw a statement out there, and we're going to go right into a discussion. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Let me just lubricate my thoughts so I can
No,
yeah.
Well, okay, so looking at what we're discussing today and this juicy topic, so I guess the first statement that I'm going to put out there is, considering the purpose of life is reproduction, could it be possible that Western society and modern day Christianity is actually imposing a monogamous standard on society that actually isn't in line with nature or biology, let's say? In addition to that, could be used as a form of population control. And the reason why I say that, and this is just food for thought, some information that I found, taking us back to school of biology, but during a 64-day cycle, men produce an average of 8 million sperm cells and have a lifespan of approximately 79 years in the UK. In comparison to women who only produce 1 egg per month, and they, the average woman goes through menopause around the age of 50. So could it be that a polygamous lifestyle is actually natural for men? What do you think, Keely? Based upon that, what you've just heard, what do you think?
Based upon the statement, it sounds like it could make sense.
The theory sounds
However, maybe God gave them, what is that? maybe God gave them backup sperm, just in case a couple of them didn't get through. All of them. Because sometimes there's times where men have a low sperm count, or even if their sperm is okay, it doesn't seem to create babies. So it's just about the strongest sperm coming through.
Okay, Kush.
Yeah, well, like I said, in theory, it sounds very nice, this idea of like procreation and all of that, but in reality, that's not what we're dealing with. That's in like an ideal setting, and as we know, we don't live in an ideal world. So yes, whereas like I said, the model, if you want to look at a particular model that we've been taught, man, woman, child, Eurasia, but that's not how it goes.
But who taught us that? Where did we learn that from? Where did that come from?
It's living here, in it. It's living in this side of the world. It's being under a Christian doctrine. It's because of the access to resources that we have. Because if we lived in a different landscape, we lived in a different part of the world, right? Our whole setup would be different. You know what I mean? But the fact that we're living here, you know, your environment does have an effect on the kind of things that you do and the kind of lifestyle you want to have. You know what I mean? So, for example, if we just take, if we look at something like diet, if I wanted to have a raw food diet 24/7, it'll be much more challenging to have that in somewhere like England than it would be in somewhere like Jamaica. You know what I mean? So your environment kind of dictates how you're able to live and what kind of things you're able to do. You know what I mean? So with
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just throwing this out there because obviously you know, looking at the other side of the spectrum, we in our culture, in, you know, the Black community, we have a lot of people who may be in relationships but have other emotional attachments outside of their relationships, whether they're honest or not about that with their partner is a whole other thing. So my thing is, we all, you know, us as women, we may complain about men, you know, putting it about sleeping with multiple women, having children outside of marriages and relationships, etc. But what if they're just not built to be with one woman? And what if actually biologically that is how it's supposed to be? But
okay.
yeah.
So if that is how, if you think to yourself, I'm a man, you know, it's not natural for me to have one woman. So you need to declare that when you're meeting these women. You don't decide that halfway through your monogamous relationship that, oh, all of a sudden, you know what, man want 2-3 women. That's not polygamy. Having a
but
woman
what if
on
they
the
were
side
already
not,
like that? What if they were already like that before they got into the relationship? Some people get into relationships.
Monogamous? You mean like be monogamous?
No, be non-monogamous.
Okay.
So like some people were already cheating on their partner or whatever and still, you know, get married to that person or whatever, and they claim, you know what, it's never going to happen again. You know, my thing is, you know, sometimes it could be just down to the fact that society has told them that this is the way it's supposed to be. So therefore they feel that they have to lie.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to throw this out there, right? As a woman that has been cheated on, I don't know about any of you guys, but I've been cheated on.
Of course we have, you know what I mean? Of course we have.
Right. So I'm just going to say this. As a woman that's been cheated on, when the emotions that we go through is not necessarily, I'm just going to say the language that I want to use because I can't pretty this up. We don't necessarily cuss about the actual dick getting flung around. Yeah. Okay. We actually get upset and we actually emotionally break down and go in a depressive state when the man continues to lie. They make out that we're paranoid. You get me? They make out that we're this and they make us feel insecure and they make us feel like we're that. Those are the things that we actually hold onto.
Yeah. It's the deceit, the fact. It's the whole deceit and the sneaking, and what polygamy makes, like, forces a man to do, or what I would say a real man would do, is to declare that, say, you know what, this is what I'm about. You meet a woman, you know what I like, you know, but here what, I'm a man that I like to have 2-3 women. Are you able to deal with that? And it's about making them other women know. Having secret women on the side is not polygamy. That's not the man thing.
Causing an argument in the household to be able to go out and link up with the women. Do you know what I mean? It's all those kind of things that you create in order to be able to continue and carry out what it is that you want to do. The breaking down of the woman that you're supposed to love and care about, not necessarily the sexual action.
But they probably don't understand what the meaning is of polygamy itself.
Then don't do it then and stop using those
but
words.
That's what I'm saying.
You get me? I thought you was going to say they don't understand what the meaning of being honest is.
Yeah. There's that too.
Yeah, don't use the word polygamy just as a way of not being accountable or a way of, you know, trying to cover up your cheating. Two completely different things. And polygamy, or, you know, multiple relationship, is less about the sex. I think everybody always thinks about the sexual element. I've had friends before, I've been cheated on myself, friends that have been cheated on, you know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, yes, you know, the idea of your man sleeping with another woman is gonna hurt you, But what it is, like Keely said, it's that deceit. It's that you made me feel like I was mad when I knew you wasn't. You're making me sit down and wonder, are you over there? You're making me feel like, why are you going in the toilet to use your phone? Them are the things that mess with your head, you know. Them are the things that you, and for a man to stand up and say, and take that risk, and that's what it is about, you know. The men that cheat, right? It's about that risk in it, because I believe that you can you're gonna like different people. You know what I mean? In my reality, you're gonna like different people. You know what I mean? I personally think that, you know, like, I think it's I think it's just not sensible to expect one person to be able to meet and fulfill all you need. You know what I mean? But you need to be clear about that. You need to, you know what I mean? People
I agree with the needing to be clear. I think the point that I'm making here is that some people are in situations and they don't even realize that actually they are probably practicing polygamy. And the reason why I say that is a lot of men maybe have their woman at home, or their life partner or their wife that they're just never going to leave, and they don't intend to leave. And they may be dealing with somebody else as well that they've probably been dealing with on and off for a very long period of time. And there's going to be some emotional attachment to that person, but you cannot fully commit to that person because you have your wife, your life partner at home. So I suppose my thought process is a lot of men are actually practicing polygamy and don't realize
that's not polygamy.
No. That's cheat. I understand that's cheating. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, if you have an emotional attachment, and if you were doing what you said in the beginning, which is being honest and saying and recognizing, actually, the monogamy isn't for me. A lot of people don't realize actually you are in a polygamous relationship, and a lot of women know that their men are doing these things as well, and just turn a blind eye because he gives them the attention that they need at home. So what I'm saying is, essentially, you are in a polygamous relationship, but it's just not labeled as such. And you obviously, we're seeing it as cheating because nobody's being honest. This is the point that I'm saying. I'm saying that maybe if people understood what polygamy is and were honest with themselves and their partners in advance and throughout the relationship, we wouldn't be in a lot of these situations that you guys have described today.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's just a perspective that I'm throwing out there for you guys to think about. But again, I hear what you're saying, and I understand that. But if we're saying that we're living in a Western society and we've now conformed, and I grew up with a Christian family, so that is the kind of ideal to get married and be with one person. Do you know what I mean? And honor that person, because that's kind of what's been imposed on us culturally.
Okay, when we talk about a polygamous relationship now, right? What's the limit of this number of women?
Well, whatever you and your wife agree, I suppose.
Okay, because
what you can afford.
Well,
I'm glad we'll go to that
a bit later. But my thing is, like, I kind of feel like the westernized man, I'm just going to say westernized men, because obviously we lived in the West. I still feel like, right, even if you turn around and say to your man, you know what, I understand that it might be natural for you to have more than one woman. So here, I'm going to agree for you to have an additional 2-3 wives. I still feel like you're going to still sleep out of the 2-3 that I accepted for you to have.
But that's about character and integrity, really. You're talking
about character and integrity when it was with the one when you was telling barefaced lies.
But what you're saying is that you're agreeing to him having more than one partner outside of yourself.
I wouldn't. I'm just putting that.
No,
yeah.
No, okay. this is not real life. What we're saying, like,
Yeah, this is not real life.
Make that
people.
point, no, like, not me,
saying
not
that I'm
me,
open
me,
to
but-
having like multiple women come try
Yeah.
and be over here. That's not gonna happen.
Speaking,
But I'm just saying,
yeah.
go on, Tash.
Yeah. So you're saying 2 outside of that, and then or however many you've agreed to, but
Yeah.
you still feel that even if you gave him that option, there's a
Yeah.
possibility that he could then find somebody else and not be open and honest that he wants more than the number that was agreed within your household. Correct?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
then my point is that's down to the individual person that you're with, that partner, their character and integrity. When we're talking about being deceitful and lying, that is the individual person's issues.
But I'm thinking, if you're still gonna come to me and lie about you just being about one woman when you're not, then you're gonna lie. Even if I agree for you to have 2 or 3 outside of, because let's face it, more time when you find out that your partner's cheating, you're not just really finding out about one extra woman. You're finding out about a lot of
that particular one, just not yet.
Well, that's why I do personally feel like polygamy is a patriarchal system. If we're saying that that's the only, like in some societies, that's the only other standard of relationships outside of monogamous that's actually deemed acceptable. Well, then why is polyandry not acceptable too? Do you see what I mean? So I think that having these conversations and understanding your partner from the beginning, from the get-go, and really delving into, do we align with each other?
Well, I'm glad that you said that, in terms of when you turn around and said it's about understanding your partner, because a lot of the time people don't understand themselves.
Yeah.
So if you don't properly understand yourself and you don't know what you're about, then you sure as hell shouldn't be in a monogamous relationship, never mind having multiple relationships with other women where you're going to be bringing in multiple children.
But then Keely, would you be with somebody who doesn't understand self?
Do you know what?
Does that align with you?
Me,
as a woman?
For me, no. But if we're talking about in general, if we're talking about...
If a woman doesn't understand herself, and then she gets with a man that doesn't understand himself, then maybe the two pair up.
No, but what tends to happen at the beginning of a relationship, the person you see at the beginning of the relationship is not necessarily the person that you're going to see a year in, 2 years in.
Yeah,
you always get. So even if you're a woman that understands self, or a man that understands self, you know what I mean, you're not going to be always checking what the other person's doing. You're going to just believe in them and trust in them to do whatever it is.
I think that's where
they're doing. Yeah. So, and then
that's
later on, things uncover.
I will always fall back to integrity and character, because if you're spending the first few months of getting to know somebody, dating or starting off in a relationship, everyone sends their representative in the beginning anyway. We know this. So, I mean, it's about character and integrity. And I'm sure we've all heard, red flags. So if something is coming up that doesn't feel right, or you see signs where the person doesn't align with you, I just think that really, is this somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with and have these any type of relationship, monogamous or otherwise? But we're going to move on now. And I'm going to ask Keely to throw in the ring another perspective.
Okay, so off the back of that, we're going to flip it a little bit to the women, and I'm going to be asking or making a statement. If you knowingly know that a man already has a woman and you are open to still getting to know that man, still having sex with that man, are you then open to polygamy?
So you're not in a relationship with them?
So basically, it's still kind of like a relationship, because you're still getting to know the person. I'm not talking about necessarily one night stand, but you meet a man, you already know he's married, you already know, or even if they're not married, you already know he's got a woman, but you still want that man regardless. The woman generally doesn't know, but the side woman
Always seems to get all the info. She gets all the info, don't she?
Yeah. So does that mean then technically that, to me, there's a lot of women that will still sleep with a man knowing that he has a woman or a family at home?
Well,
right?
polygamy means that you would have to involve the wife.
At least there needs to be some, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be good friends, you know. It's not like you have to sit down and...
I'm talking about the woman being at home. Yeah, because it's usually the woman, the main woman that don't know, right? So the other women sometimes know, or technically get the hint when the man, you know, don't answer his phone after a certain time at night or whatever. You get me? So if you openly know that the man has a woman or a family, being that woman from the outside, then if the woman at home did say, oh yeah, okay, then I don't mind you having these outside women, are you technically then in a polyamorous relationship? Because you've already been open to it, because you was already sleeping with a taken man already.
I think with that as well, I've had conversations with men and women around this, and I think there's an element of this where people like to sneak around. Because I've had this conversation with man, if you had two women, you know, and they were down with you being with both of them, you know what I mean? Would you be okay with that? There's an element of the sneaking around. A lot of this is learned behavior as well. Just like women are taught from you young, you know, you're going to meet a man, he's going to break your heart, or you're going to fall in love, he's going to sweep you off your foot, or your man's going to cheat on you. The idea of a man having a mistress, as it used to be called back in the day, you know what I mean? Now it's side chick. So a lot of this is like learned behavior, like, because we're always given signals and messages on how we're supposed to behave. So a lot of it is learned and taught, and a lot of people do like the sneaky, the like that, you know what I mean? That, you know, like,
it's not sneaky anymore, because you've got women in a dance talking about, yes, I'm matey, or I'm the side chick and I'm sleeping there with your man.
I wear yellow because
the main woman, like, nothing's really a secret anymore these days. So is it the secretiveness really, or is it just a case of I can have your man if I wanted to?
I think it's the fact that if you know you're in a environment where that's supported. So back to what you were saying earlier on, Divine, you were saying that, like, you know, there's women that do know that them, you know, that, you know, their man has another woman. I think if we lived in a society where people were more open about it, it's that element of shame and guilt for you to come out and say, if somebody comes to you, oh, you know what, Kaylee, I seen your man in a dance with someone else. You know what I mean? Even if you know that he has another woman, you know, somebody bringing that to you, that adds another twist to it, then for you to be like, oh yeah, that's Sharon or whatever, you know what I mean? And what, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know about her. Like the strength that takes, or, you know what I mean? That's another level of declaration there. And I don't think that we live in that, we're a community that will support them kind of thing. Even if you're somebody that's doing that, to stand up, it's this idea of the declaration and the being accountable for saying certain things, you know what I mean? When it's not there yet. But if we lived in like a different community now, you know what I mean? And you were constantly seeing, you know, multiple families and stuff, you'd be more likely to say, you know, yeah, you know, that's the other wife, or I'm wife number 2, or I'm wife number 3. We don't have those conversations around here, so you're not going to say that, because we're not a very good community, I don't think.
I'm actually, this one's giving me a bit of food for thought. Like, I'm literally sitting here thinking about it, because I'm like, well, to me, polygamy is about, you know, a family structure and an understanding of how it's going to benefit not just the community, but generationally as well. And both parties, all parties, families as well. How is it going to be kept within, you know, like wealth building and all of those things, or even keeping wealth together, whether that's polyandry or polygamy, either way. So I do think that if we're talking about, you know, someone who's not necessarily in a relationship with the person, but is sleeping with them, knowing that they're with somebody else, that's not polygamy to me.
Yeah, because what's coming from that, what value is coming from that? You know what I mean? It's some business part in it.
There's various reasons why women do that. Some women get satisfaction, not necessarily, it's not even about the other woman. It might be just about themselves, that they feel that they can get any man regardless of what the situation is. And if that man treats them, remember, a lot of men fall into situationships with these women. You know, they go around there, they stay there, they, you know, cook, or they might pick them up from places.
It's a secret relationship.
It's a secret relationship.
It's all the things that you do for the main woman,
right?
You do it for the side one.
So some women are like, well, I get all of this anyway, and I can still do what I need to do. So, you know, and I love him, so what am I really? That's not polygamy. It literally is what it says on the tin. You are sleeping.
But it's still the poly lifestyle, though.
Now, if we're talking then polyamorous, where you can have freely, but again, all partners would know that we want to enter into a polyamorous lifestyle. So you could have a husband, a wife, and say, you know, I want a life partner outside of this. I want a boyfriend outside of this. Do you know what I mean? I want to see and speak to other people, whatever that may be. But it's agreed across the board that also whoever you're interacting with accepts your lifestyle, and they also kind of adhere to that lifestyle too. So to me, not poly. Do you know what I mean? It's not poly because there's still an element of underlying secrecy going on, and that's not poly on any degree, because the whole purpose of poly is that, I think with polyamorous, it's more fluidity in relationships than, you know, it being rigid and, you know, you're married and then you have these two and then we can build, you know, it's more, okay, I'm married and there's a structure here, but then I have this outside relationship, and then I might have another outside relationship, but we all know, and probably we all in you know, they've met each other and understand that that's my partner too.
So where's the building in that?
No, but polyamorous to me, that's just, I mean, that's just how I view it. And I may be wrong. There may be some polyamorous people in the comments after this this show. Come up and go, no, this is not how we live our life, but how I perceive it to be, whether I might be wrong, is that you know, they're more free, and that actually they can love freely without being restricted to just one person. And meaning that, yes, the building, I suppose, would come from your initial first stable relationship. So that would be if you are married, or if you are in a long-term relationship with a life partner. That could be the stability and building in the home. And then you have your boyfriend. So if it was a woman, let's say, you have your boyfriend, and then your husband may have a girlfriend. And there was something that I watched, I think it was Red Table, where they brought people on, you know, Jada Pinkett's show. And they brought people on, they were talking about polyamory, and one of the guy, he was married, his wife has a boyfriend, he has a girlfriend, the girlfriend came on the show, but then the girlfriend has a life partner with a female who she doesn't have any sexual interaction with. It's more
like a civil partnership.
It's not sexual.
Yeah.
They have a deep connection and they have a relationship, and she knows that she's going to be connected to this person for life. I suppose it's more of a deeper spiritual connection. I can't explain it because I'm not in it, but that person isn't going anywhere, and they're not actually, they're not interacting sexually. It's just somebody that they. So
you just like a very, very good best friend.
But I think for them, it's deeper than that. And I suppose, would you have that with your best friend? That's the question.
But they do turn around and say that you can be soulmates it doesn't have to be a sexual partner to be,
Correct.
you don't have to be a sexual with somebody to have a soulmate.
Well,
So technically, you could technically then with your like best friend, you could have that.
yeah, I suppose you could, and especially if you've got a deep spiritual connection with that person, but then maybe it's so intense. It's more heightened and intense and deeper than that, but not to the point where they feel that they have to have sex with each other or any sexual interaction with each other like that. But
okay, so did money get exchanged?
Money.
Yeah, because if it's your life partner,
Yeah.
but if we just take away the sexual element for a moment, if it's a life partner, then there should be some kind of structure still, right? Because this man's married, she has a life partner, but there should still be some kind of structure with her life partner.
Well, from again, I'm just whatever they showed, they didn't go into it that deep. They just literally showed a picture of this, like her and the life partner together, and she was just explaining that it's a deep connection. She didn't go into, you know, whether they live together or what, you know. She just explained what that relationship was. But him and his wife have that structure, and then the wife has met the girlfriend. They've also met the wife's boyfriend. His family wasn't accepting of it.
I'm trying to keep it going.
Yeah, his family wasn't accepting of it either. But now the family's starting to ask for the girlfriend. So it's a very, very, to me, it's mixy. Like that's very mix up and blend. Mix and blend. I don't know how else to explain it, but that to me is a more fluid way of where you're saying I can love anyone and I don't want to feel restricted to any one person. Like it
just turned into one bag of mix up when you just started blending in all the genders together. That just went.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm not saying it's wrong, but when you start throwing in, it's too much.
Well, this is what I'm saying, but that's polyamory though. It's the fluidity of the various relationships, whether it's same sex or
it's just as much. That kind of polyandry to me sounds just as modernized as side chick and matey.
Yeah, I think it's more of
it's not your traditional. It's not your traditional.
But then this is going back to what we're saying. What's traditional? In whose eyes is what is traditional?
But then I suppose then that's the same as the first statement then when we was including religion into the mix in the first place, because all right, even if we take out religion, there's still people that are not into religion and that don't live on this side of the world that still have one woman or one wife.
Well, so Kush, what have you got for us then?
I'm saying that monogamy, let me see if I can remember, monogamy basically ensures that even the poorest, weakest man gets somebody, has the pleasure of getting somebody. In a poly world, it means that the man then need to step up because they know that you ain't guaranteed to get someone just because you have a natural born right as a man, because you will get left behind. You ain't got nothing to offer. So that's where I'm going with that one. I believe that monogamy benefits men and men only. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think
yeah. The thing, obviously, us doing this topic now has made me just look at relationships in a whole new light, because I feel like monogamy and polygamy are so patriarchal. And I also feel like monogamy is, well, you know, their standard of what relationship should be, of the woman's place within that relationship. Yes, and allowing, you know, why is it okay for them in one respect to another? Looking at polyandry and understanding where that comes from and why, you know, they have that system in some places around the world. And now South Africa is obviously legalize polyandry as well, right, where women can marry multiple men.
Well, when do the borders open up? Are they in the
Because what would you have multiple husbands?
I would have multiple husbands. I would have multiple husbands, though, in very specific circumstances. So
Right.
by that I mean that there'll be something different that I got from each one of my partners. So it wouldn't just be about, oh, I got 3 men, me have one over there, so one over there. So it would mean that potentially 3 different businesses that I'm in partnership, that I'm a part of. That's 3 type of properties. You know what I mean? That's access to 3 different areas of the globe. You know what I mean? Like I think different people bring you different experiences and bring out different stuff in you. Right?
Okay, so I got some questions for you.
Okay.
Oh, right. So knowing that you're open to having multiple men in different continents, right? Not one over here, or one over there. So, right. Would you let each man know about the other?
I would have to. I would have to. Otherwise, that's not poly.
So then my next question is, what type of men are you? I'm going somewhere with this. Like, what kind of men are you attracted to? Like, are you attracted to alpha male? Are you attracted to beta? Like, what are you attracted to?
I'm attracted to men that can take the lead. I'm attracted to men that are confident in themselves and don't see other men as competition. You understand?
So would you dictate that? Would you say that that's an alpha male?
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, so how alpha males are usually set up, right? What alpha male do you know that would turn around and say, right, yeah, Kush man, I don't mind, you can have a next man without burning his ego?
There are limited. I know men right now, and admittedly, most of them are in America. So I will say that, and that's a cultural thing as well. But that's another point. But there are men out there that are part of the poly lifestyle and understand that I can't expect to have 1, 2, 3 women in the world of polyandry and not expect my woman who has chosen to approach. You know what I mean? Like, who has chosen.
But if we take out the fact of he's having multiple women, just think, suppose you don't have any women and there's just you, right?
But like I said, that's from the get-go. I let you know, like, I'm not into, I'm into poly. You know what I mean?
Because I've thought about it, and I thought,
from the get-go,
would I personally respect a man? Because my man would have to be alpha. So would I then respect my man as an alpha man? Yeah, and give him and I don't mean respect as in like just respect him as a, but I just mean, would I be able to properly respect him as an alpha male, knowing that you're just not
that is not demanding that you belong to him, and that he hasn't taken ownership of you.
Not ownership, but it's because we're not talking about ownership, but I'm talking about, like, obviously it's like being in a relationship and you want to build something, and like you said, you want somebody to take the lead. How can 3 different men in different continents take the lead? Which at some point which direction are you gonna go? Okay,
what you have to understand is, whether I can be with that man and I can have another man, whether he knows about it or not. Like, no matter how great and wonderful he is, as we know, no matter how great and wonderful we as a woman, that doesn't determine anything. So it's better that, like I said, if you know within yourself, I'm a man and this woman has seen something in me. Yeah, this woman's seen something in me. She has chosen to say, yeah, there's something about you that I see that I can, I can build with, I can benefit from. If you're not already of that mindset, then no, you're not going to have it. You're not going to have it. But do you respect a man that is always like insecure when you're around other men? On the flip side of that, what you want a man to know is that when you're with me, or when we're together, or when we're in our thing, it's about me and you, and we're building. Whatever you do outside of us does not affect what happens here. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of premise that you build
But is
poly
that
relationships. And
what? Okay, so then if we're talking about monogamy, polygamy, polyandry, and polyamorous, what does that fit into for you? That perspective.
what do you mean? I don't understand what
So you're saying you've got three men?
She hasn't, by the way, another
No.
disclaimer.
This is hypothetical.
I'm just saying for the audience.
You know, thanks for that, Stevie. Thanks for that.
I'm so sorry. Every time I do that to you, Stu, it's not real. This is hypothetical, people.
We know.
You actually, somebody might come in the conversation right there. You know what I mean? Somebody comes in the conversation at the wrong time, and that's all they hear. Run gone with it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Apologies. Disclaimer.
So yeah, you've got 3 partners. Yeah.
Yes, 3 partners. So are you saying that these 3 partners can live anywhere in the world?
Yeah. I want to have like three men in Birmingham. Like,
why not?
Because to me, that's for me and what I want to achieve and what I want that don't benefit me. Having 3 men that's stuck in the same situation as me.
So that's where I asked you, is that polyandry or polyamorous? Because essentially, if you're looking at polyandry, you've got you could have 3 husbands. And you all could live in close proximity together, whether that be on one compound or whether.
Oh no, I don't want that. That's not how I see my life. No. That's not the life I see for myself.
So yeah, it's because she's basically just looking to just have one big setup in America. She can fly from there, go to our next continent, man and whatever's got it unlock over in this country. She's living the life in that place. And then she's building my business
in Ghana, building my business.
She's just flying all over the place, And
so that sounds to me like a polyamorous lifestyle.
Polyamorous, because I must admit, I mean, I do refer to the poly lifestyle, but all the amorous, the andry, I'm not very good at the.
So if we say, just so that our audience know as well, that if you're looking at polygamous is where a man can marry multiple women, polyandry is where women can marry multiple men, and polyandry is where women can marry multiple men, and polyamorous is the fluidity of loving more than one person and having multiple relationships from both parties without restrictions in any bounds. So like what you're saying, you could be one place, that place, whatever, have man here, have man there, have man all around.
Don't why you said it like that.
One round here, one round there,
one way round.
Over there. No, south, east.
So my point is, if they're in America, Ghana, this year, that year, then essentially, you're saying if you're with someone, that's not going to affect anything that's going on with us, blah blah blah. Essentially, you're not necessarily married to these people, and you're not in a close proximity to build wealth and generationally in one spot. That sounds more like a polyamorous lifestyle to me. Okay. Because it's more fluid.
But when you talk about fluid, what I assumed you meant is that there's like bisexuality involved.
I think there's no I think this is the thing about polyamory. There's no rule book to say you have to be bisexual, gay, or straight. It's just you have relationships how you see them. And your structure of relation, there is no structure. It's how you want it to go. And I suppose
within any relationship, whether it's a poly relationship or not, you still have your boundaries. Like, it's not just, I'm with you and you just do what you're doing. You're still within your own personal structure. You have your boundaries, you have your, what I mean? It's not just
and this is my view of polyamory. I just see it as it's just a very loose.
It's just giving me a headache thinking about it, because imagine
maturity.
It could technically work out that you have, not you specifically, of course, but I'm just saying it it could technically be that you have, for example, 3 men in 3 different continents, yeah? And then because you're away, like you turned around and said, if you're able to have 3 men and, you know, then what they should be able to, you'd be okay with them having multiple women, yeah? And then them multiple women be having multiple men because they know that everybody, it just sounds just
No, but
And
like I
that's-
said,
you know, it just sounds like one bag of germs to me. One piece of
Well, it
germs.
sounds like one bag of mix up, like what I said
And
earlier.
germs.
Mix up and germs and
like I said, no, like I say, yeah. The way you presenting it there, yeah, that sounds all loosey. Well, like I said, within whatever structure you're in, whether you decide that you're gonna allow, I don't really like that word allow, because it still has some kind of levels of ownership. But you're still like comfortable then with your man being with somebody else. There's still there's always boundaries and restrictions, you know what I mean? And you're not bound to something. Once you might think to yourself, all right, then yeah, I'm all right with this. You're not bound to stay in something if something ain't working out for you. You think to yourself, actually, you know what I mean? As much as I like having the freedom, he actually bothers me every time I know he's talking to another woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where the emotional maturity then comes into it. You know what I mean? Because it's all about being honest. Any things around jealousy and all them emotions that we've been taught, basically, you know what I mean? Them things they shouldn't really be existing if we're declaring that. You know what I mean? Because when we look at let's look at monogamy. How much marriages are successful, and the divorce rate, how much percentage? And I ain't got no statistics, but we all know that most marriages end up in divorce.
But I think general
divorce over.
I don't think jealousy is
infidelity.
I don't think jealousy is something that's taught. I think jealousy is a part of human nature. Like
no, you get jealous. But it's how you manage all these things, in it. So you can feel away if you know, say, oh, this weekend is at Keely's. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you might feel away within yourself.
I think some people that are things that I've watched over the years and seen, even in polygamy, especially in the Black community where there's polygamous relationships or whatever, and I've seen them talking about, you know, how the woman feels about, you know, bringing someone else in, or when another situation is arising and another woman's sleeping with her man. You know, there can be a bit of tension, even though they've accepted it, that this is happening and agreed to it initially, or as it goes on, there may be a bit of friction. And I think that is only natural.
Yeah, I think that's definitely natural. That's definitely.
If we're talking about polygamy and the wife has initially agreed for you to then have other wives, and then he's obviously made the same, because we're talking about marriage, you know, so regardless, there's still a structure in marriage. So till death, till we part, or and all of that. So then if you then turn around and say, well, actually, I thought I was going to be okay with it, and now you've married somebody, I'm not actually okay with it. So then you're still going to have to, you know, for better, for worse, out.
Well, you know what, each individual is different, each relationship is different, so how people handle it or don't handle it, or opt out of it and opt in of it, I suppose it's just down to
because you can't then just expect the man then, after he's made the vows to another woman, to then just be like, okay, well, I'm going to divorce her now because the first one's not comfortable with it.
If you've entered into these things, you have to be certain that this is what you both want. I suppose as well, people try these things and it just doesn't work. And it doesn't work. Sometimes they go into these things and it's like, what the hell am I doing? But I'm just conscious that we've actually had a comment come in, guys, and I just want to throw this out there. So
who's cussing Kush?
Well, a comment is, any woman that wants more than one man, a dirty girl that.
Oh.
Pop. Ta-da!
So,
oh.
ladies,
bloody hell.
Let me cool myself down then a little bit to that. Let me
I'm assuming that came from a man, because
I think that was a woman. I think that was a woman still. I think that was a woman.
Do you?
Not a dirty girl.
That's a woman. That's the woman that's been cheated on. That's the woman that who's been cheated on. That is. And you know what, my sister? You know, like, I've been cheated on as well. You know what I mean? And
Well, you know,
we're all entitled to our opinion.
I think I have it on good authority. It was a man.
Really?
Yeah, and actually, I would think a man would make that statement, because going back to what we were discussing earlier, it is a patriarchal, you know, view of how.
Is that a man a dotty bomber then? He's got more than one woman. Is he a dotty, nasty brass as well, or is that just us?
To
you know what I mean?
Well, I think
who texted in that message.
I think
is there a bit of double standards going on there, or is that just for the women? Ways,
or is it just for women? Please let us know.
Yeah, we need viewers' comments. So everybody, other than just subscribing, and commenting, can you please give us feedback on what you think? Yeah. Do you think that any woman that wants more than one man, 1, 2, 3 man, a dirty girl that? Do you agree or disagree? That's what we want to know. I have also had a comment where a man has actually said, when we're in a discussion, that if a woman does what a man does in terms of, you know, sleeping around or having multiple men, like men have multiple women, she's a hoe.
Okay.
So what do you think about that, ladies?
If a woman has more than one man,
yeah, or she
chooses to express herself, to
sexually more than
liberated, and to choose what she does with her body, she's a hoe. No, I definitely disagree. Disagree. That just sounds like freedom of choice to me, and not living under restrictions, and being liberated, and knowing yourself and being honest.
Yeah, I think the important
sometimes is it being, but it's not being liberated. Some people that do. It's not. Sometimes when women do that though, it's not because they're being liberated. It's because they're going through something.
Okay,
but that still don't make them a hoe though. If they're going through something,
I'm not saying it's making them a hoe.
I'm just trying to negate my that person's
yeah. I'm not saying it makes them a hoe, but I am just saying that it's not just because of wanting to be liberated.
Yeah. But in addition to that, Keely and Kush, they also said it's actually natural for men to have more than one woman. So this was in addition to their comment that women are dirty or whatever, dirty girl.
Okay, so I want to ask this then.
So doesn't that go back to my initial point when we're talking
I want to ask. Well, I want to say, because I'm going on like the person's directly there, right? Yeah. I just want to say, if you think it's natural for a man to be sleeping around with multiple different women, right? And you know, it's not okay for the woman to be going round because of. I'm saying this because you said a dirty girl, that you're talking about the germsy side of it, because that's what I would attach it to. When you're going around sleeping with multiple different women, are you not essentially bringing the same dirty germs back to the woman, or sharing this fluid business? Because if you're all married, you're not all not. I'm sure you know everybody's not going to be using protection all around the way. So if we're saying that the woman is the woman is the sacred. Where are you going passing germs, please? Why are you passing next woman's cells into my sacred womb, please? Where are you going?
That sacred womb. But
I'm a man. I'm a king.
Saying, if you think the woman is precious, like they say they think the woman is precious. That's why women can't bring in children into the world. So you know that's womb woman. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So if we think that the woman is sacred and special, and you're there going around sleeping with other multiple women, why are you bringing other women's cells into my sacred womb?
Well, I don't. This goes back to my original, the very first thing that we were saying.
I can never say it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
aside from the patriarchy, where we're saying that some men actually don't understand the concept of polygamy and polyandry, and the concepts of, so we, you know, we haven't really touched on it, but even still, when you're in these relationships, you're looking at how we can build together and keep things in our family and in our community and generationally. And I think a lot of the time people don't consider that. Do you know what I mean? So
you know, also, we have spent a lot of time talking about the sexual aspects of it, and there's so much more to,
yeah,
you know,
that's what I mean.
the potential of relationships.
It's not just about sex, it's actually about, sometimes it's a business decision that I want to get into this relationship with someone.
Right. But we're going back to my man's comment about Dotty Girl. when men think about, when men hear the statement or hear women talk about the one to be multiple partners, right? The first thing that coming out of them head is, you know what I mean? She lay down with the three of them one time, like let's leave them childish, them, you know what I mean? Let's come out of that.
I've got a perfect response to them. So there are 6 to 9 women to every one man in the whole world.
There's what? 6 to 9?
6
women.
9 to every man in the whole world.
Oh, wow.
So is nature not spelling it out then, really? That if men, there's less men than women on this earth, effectively, what does that mean?
It means a lot. Listen, right? If we're going to start talking about what there's more women in the world than men. Not all the women are going to be wanted, and not all the men are going to be wanted either. So by the time you finish weeding through all the man, and by the time you finish weeding through all the women, furthermore, okay then. So if there's more women than men, so men should just be like, let me just volunteer myself, you know, because let me just be, you know, a superhero, and let me just take on a couple additional women, because, you know, there's more women.
Yeah, and I do think that.
And also, sorry, while I remember, is that due to nature, or is it due to the fact of, you know, people getting killed off
and being in jail and systematical reasons and all those things?
Exactly.
We do have to consider.
What I want to do now, before we even, you know, head out, because wrap this up, is
already. What?
We might have to bring in a part 2, you know, because I want to say,
I can't believe that.
And I think there's so many aspects to this that we could delve into, in terms of, you know, how is this, if we're talking about building and reproducing and making our race strong as Black people, is a poly lifestyle actually conducive to that process?
Not about economics.
I would say if done correctly.
Not without economics.
And done correctly means with economics, definitely.
I'm not talking about just, let's remove sex from it. Let's just remove that. I'm talking, we're saying we want to continue the race. We want to make sure that, you know, we have more children and there's not population control going on, that everybody's well looked after. Our extended families can benefit from, you know, the unions that happen, and so can the local communities as well. So these are the things I think, you know, I would like us to close out on as solution-based area of discussion now, really, is if somebody really wants to go down this road and say that, you know what, I'm actually considering this because monogamy is not for me, whether they're male or female, whoever it is, you know, what would your advice be to that person?
Mine would be, if everybody's in agreement and you're happy, I'm happy, you're happy. However, right, if it's about building, then before we start talking about poly anything, we need to be talking about poly pockets. We need to be talking about building up the economic backing before we start bringing the children into the world, because then it's just a case of separation. Basically, what is the point in bringing in, if we're talking about building and families and all that kind of stuff, what is the point in adding more and more separation and then passing on trauma on top of trauma and making the cycle repeat itself.
I mean, I'm talking about, so we need to think about it in a positive way, that somebody no, but you start talking about trauma.
But go and work, or go and build your business. And make sure you've got the P.
What if they already have all of that? This is what I'm saying. So what if two people are already established in their life, well accomplished, and they're like, you know what, monogamy is not for me, but I do want to be with one person initially, but I would consider, you know, whether that be the male or the female, marrying more than one person. And my thing is okay, as a solution to, I'm thinking of it culturally within the African diaspora, how that might benefit us by people actually going down the poly route rather than monogamy. And I'm not an advocate for any of these. I'm more, you know, do you.
But I think that if both people have the financial backing and then they decide to come together and then go out, then the solution's already there for them. I feel like the solution needs to be discussed between people who don't have that but want that lifestyle. So if you want that lifestyle, make sure that, you know, it's not a case of, it's all about, but where we live, money talks. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's you need to buy land, whether it's you need to buy a house, whether it's be about the bills or whatever, and you're having multiple different households, to be able to run those households, you need money. So if you've got the money and everybody's open, okay.
Kush, anything you want to add to that?
For me, I would just say that just like as in any relationship, you constantly should be like reviewing, you know what I mean, going back to the drawing board and reviewing like your situation. Are things working out for you? You know what I mean? I would just remind people that are considering this kind of lifestyle that it does come with a lot of emotional maturity, like that is an element, and that is something that we struggle with. I struggle with. I'm no different from anybody else. You know what I mean?
I think
that's a big element of it. And when we look at, if we actually look in our society and some of the things that we know is going on, we know when we go out and we see my man's woman with my man with the next woman, that we all know, we all kind of co-sign with the cheating. You know what I mean? Even if it's by not saying anything, you know what I mean? We know that this one's got a child over there, and to me, them kind of things are more destructive and dangerous than the kind of lifestyle I envision for myself. You know what I mean? So I think there's so much dysfunction within us, and I think we need to kind of do the way that, you know, especially the way I hear some of the men talking, the way you're so strong and principled about how women are supposed to conduct themselves. If we could apply that strength to some other principles that we should be honing in our community. As always, like I said, there's always a list of rules for women.
Well, we do.
But you know what's also brilliant? How a lot of men even, ladies, how a lot of these men these days even see women so disrespectful. They don't feel like, oh, it's kind of natural. They just feel like you should just do as I say, and just have disgusting behavior and attitude towards women. And be broke too.
I think my
and be broke too. My solution, the nurse that have to come money for fling down after
and be broke too.
My solution is communication, open communication, and being honest, and you know, making sure that you're both on the same page throughout the whole process. But we're gonna have to wrap it up now, ladies.
We definitely need a part two. Definitely need a part two.
Yeah, we probably most likely will have a part two, to be fair. So I'm Divine Cosmic Mind.
I am Push Data.
And I am Keely.
Yeah, and we're the panel for More Than a Woman. And thank you for watching us today. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, all of the good stuff. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're all over the place. So please support the podcast. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Even to that person that called me a dirty girl. Bye.